الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الذين يؤذون الله ورسوله لعنهم الله في الدنيا والآخرة وأعد لهم عذابا مهينا. The first of our loud salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The second in honor of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Waqi'at al-Harrah, or the incident of Harrah, is one of the most tragic incidents in the history of the religion of Islam, and is an incident which requires a thorough analysis, for it is an incident which sheds light on the cruelty meted out against the religion of Islam after the Battle of Karbala, an incident which affects each and every one of our lives, and an incident from which many a lesson may be learnt, and indeed many an example may be derived. Unfortunately, Waqat al-Harrah is an incident which has not been examined with the depth within which it should be. If you were to ask many people about the Waqa'ah, the incident, you'll find that many do not know at all about the incident or about the repercussions of the incident in Islamic history. Whereas when you dissect Waqat al-Harrah, you find that after the Battle of Karbala, it is seen as one of the most tragic incidents to have ever occurred to the family of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The first reason it's important to study Waqat al-Harrah is because it allows us to answer the question, what happened after Karbala? As in, there are many people who always ask that after Karbala and after Kufa and after Sham, what happened in the remaining years of the caliphate of Yazid ibn Muawiya? You find that many people ask this question, and the idea that we know Yazid ibn Muawiya remained as Khalifa for 2 years after Karbala. The first reason to examine the incident of Harrah is to ask, what is the issues that took place after Yazid performed what he performed against the family of the Prophet? Because as we know, Yazid remained Caliph for 2 years after Karbala, and there still remain certain incidents which were performed which have to be dissected in this lecture. On the second level, it's vital to study Waqat al-Harrah because of the fact that there seems to be a movement which seeks to exonerate Yazid ibn Muawiya from any of the atrocities in Islamic history. Recently you find a movement where people have sought to free the burden from Yazid ibn Muawiya from any of the atrocities during his 3 years as Khalifa. As in recently you hear more and more people saying Amir Yazid. Or you hear people saying Yazid radiyallahu anh. Yazid, may Allah be pleased with him. Recently this movement has sprung with the idea that Yazid ibn Muawiya did not kill Imam al-Hussein. As when you find this movement saying that Hussein ibn Ali died on the land of Karbala. Yazid ibn Muawiya was where? Yazid ibn Muawiya was in the land of Sham. This movement came forward and said that Yazid ibn Muawiya, while he was in Sham, should not be blamed for killing Hussein son of Ali. You ask then, who should be blamed? They say Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, Umar ibn Sa'ad, but not Yazid. The question arises, who appointed Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad and Umar ibn Sa'ad? Number one, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad and Umar ibn Sa'ad were both appointed by Yazid ibn Muawiya. Correct, Yazid may not have been the one who struck the dagger, but at the end of the day it was Yazid who was the one who ensured that Hussein was ordered to be killed. Number two, Yazid's poetry when he met the family of Hussein after Karbala highlights that he found himself in pleasure, that he was responsible for the killing of the Imam. When he looked at Sayyidah Zainab and he said to her later, Ashyakhi ببدر شهدوا جزع الخزرج من وقع الأسل لا أهلوا واستهلوا فرحا ثم قالوا يا يزيد لا تشل لعبت هاشم بالملك فلا خبر جاء ولا وحي نزل. Yazid in front of Sayyidah Zainab said it clear, I wish my ancestors from Badr were present to see what I have done to your family today. In other words, what do we find? We find that tonight's analysis of Waqi'at al-Harrah allows us to dissect Yazid after Karbala, to examine one of the most tragic incidents to have ever occurred in the history of Medina and Mecca. And that's why today if you came to many followers of Ahlelbayt and ask them what happened in Waqi'at al-Harrah, you'll find many who will turn around to you and say, to tell you the truth, we've never heard of it. Others who would have heard of it but not known the exact details. Tonight let's look at the intricate details of this event that happened 2.5 years after Karbala and had equally as much potence in its devastation against the religion of Islam. We'll examine it in a number of stages. Yazid ibn Muawiya, after Karbala, as we know, the family of the Prophet returned back to Medina. When they returned back to Medina, who was his governor in Medina? His governor in Medina was Amr ibn Sa'id ibn al-As. This was his governor in Medina, both during Karbala and after Karbala. Sayyidah Zainab returned to Medina. When Sayyidah Zainab returned to Medina, she made it a point that while I'm here in Medina, I'm going to make sure that I have congregations known as majalis, where I remind the people of what happened to my brother on the plains of Karbala. What did Sayyidah Zainab do? She began to be outspoken against Yazid in Medina. Remember, Yazid was where? Yazid was in Sham. Sayyidah Zainab was where? Sayyidah Zainab was in Medina. She began to openly speak out against Yazid in the land of Medina. And that's why Amr ibn Sa'id ibn al-As wrote a letter to Yazid. He said to him, the daughter of Ali ibn Abi Talib does not remain silent. She lectures and congregates people and reminds them about what happened in Karbala. Yazid said, so what's your idea? What should we do? He said, well, you've got to find a solution, because unless you keep an eye on Zainab, Zainab will cause an overthrow in Medina. Yazid, what did he do? Yazid ordered Amr ibn Sa'id ibn al-As to make Sayyidah Zainab leave the land of Medina and go towards the land of Sham. Of course, at the beginning, Sayyidah Zainab did not want to leave the land of Medina. The land of Medina is a land for the lovers of Al Muhammad. Why? Sayyidah Zainab's mother got married there. Sayyidah Zainab and her family were born there. Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussein, Sayyidah Zainab, Kulthum were all born in the land of Medina. She had seen her grandfather Rasulullah in this land. She saw him buried in this land. Medina had a sanctity that Rasulullah used to say, whoever puts fear into the people of Medina, la'na goes on him from Allah, from the angels and from the people of that land. Sayyidah Zainab came to Imam Zain al-Abidin. Imam Zain al-Abidin said to her, my auntie Zainab, they order you to leave Medina to go and live somewhere else. She said to him, where? He said, you have to go and live in the land of Sham. She said, I never want to see these people again. I already made it clear that those people who killed my brother, those people who oppressed him, I do not want to ever see them again. Imam Zain al-Abidin said to her, my auntie, you will not see them again. She said to him, what do you mean? He said to her, where you're going to live is far away from Yazid. As you know, those of you who visited Sayyidah Zainab, the area where she's buried in Sham is far away from downtown where the Jami' al-Amawi is, isn't it? As in the distance between the Bazaar in Sham and Sayyidah Zainab's Haram by coach is a minimum of 25 minutes. Imam Zain al-Abidin said to her, he said, go and settle there. You will be far away. Sayyidah Zainab's husband Abdullah ibn Ja'far had a house or had a big piece of land in that area. She went and she remained there. When the people of Medina, already having heard that Yazid ibn Muawiya had ordered the killing of Imam al-Hussein, now saw Sayyidah Zainab exiled towards the land of Sham, the people of Medina, what did they do? The people of Medina decided it's about time we speak out about this man. And you know, in Medina, you had many famous personalities who were with Rasulullah, and you had some who were the sons of those personalities. Abdul Rahman bin Auf, his son Zayd was in Medina. You had Zubair, his son Abdullah was in Medina. Hanbala, the man whose body was washed by the angels at the Battle of Uhud, his son Abdullah was in Medina. These people began to rally amongst themselves. They said, we heard the grandson of Rasulullah killed at Karbala, and we did not help him, and we are the people of Medina. And now Sayyidah Zainab has been forced to leave Medina. Surely we can't remain silent again. Let us gather some soldiers. Let's work together in order that we are able to gather the people to rise against Yazid ibn Muawiya once and for all. Remember, Yazid after Karbala could not rest on his throne. Yazid knew the people of Medina, if they rally together, then there's a chance they'll be able to overthrow his kingdom. So what happened? Yazid's governor Amr ibn Sa'id ibn al-As, Yazid heard that this Amr ibn Sa'id is not strict enough, he's not harsh enough, so he removed him. He placed al-Walid ibn Uqba. Yazid was hearing the reports of al-Walid ibn Uqba. He was waiting, how is this Walid ibn Uqba doing? The reports came back that Walid ibn Uqba doesn't listen to the advice of Yazid. Yazid keeps sending him letters about how to treat the people of Medina, and there wasn't anything back. Yazid eventually replaced him as well. Imagine, Yazid after Karbala kept on replacing governor after governor in Medina. He replaced Amr ibn Sa'id, he replaced Walid ibn Uqba, until eventually he put Uthman ibn Muhammad ibn Abu Sufyan, his cousin. Uthman ibn Muhammad ibn Abu Sufyan became governor of Medina. While he became governor of Medina, Yazid said to him, you have one task. He said, what is it? He said, Abdullah ibn Zubair, find him and kill him. Abdullah was the son of Zubair. You know Zubair and Talha in the Battle of Jamal? Abdullah was the son of Zubair. This Abdullah found Karbala as an opportunistic moment to use as an excuse to rise against Yazid, the arch politician. Imam al-Hussein has been killed at Karbala. What more of an opportune time to get leadership but by using Imam al-Hussein's name to rally the people against Yazid, isn't it? This Abdullah ibn Zubair, do you know why it was opportunistic? Imam al-Hussein, when he came to Mecca and he asked the people of Mecca and the people of Medina to help him, Abdullah ibn Zubair turned a blind eye to Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein thought someone like Abdullah, son of a famous companion of Rasulullah, he thought the person would help him. Abdullah ibn Zubair showed no respect for him whatsoever. All of a sudden, after Karbala, Abdullah ibn Zubair was shouting out, we want to avenge Karbala. We want to avenge what Yazid did to us. Abdullah ibn Zubair, Yazid said to Uthman bin Muhammad, he said, I want you to catch Abdullah ibn Zubair. Abdullah ibn Zubair managed to flee Mecca. But who remained in Mecca? The person who remained in Mecca was Abdullah ibn Hanbala. Abdullah ibn Hanbala gathered all the people of Mecca together. They all came near him. He said, O people of Mecca, our dads were the muhajirs, O people of Medina. Our dads were the muhajirs who left Mecca to help Rasulullah. And our dads, some of them were of the Ansar of Medina who helped Rasulullah. How dare we sit while Yazid ibn Muawiya sits after Karbala on his throne with no one rising against him? The people of Medina said, what do you want us to do? He said, all of you gather together. Bani Umayyah have 1,000 family members and friends in Medina. It was true. They had 1,000 family members and friends in the land of Medina. He said to them, gather all these 1,000 family members and friends. Gather them, and I want them to be put in a house under arrest. They said to him, who's the first? He said, get Marwan ibn al-Hakam. That Marwan is the arch of Bani Umayyah in Medina. He is the one who ordered Sayyidah Zainab to be out of Medina. Gather Marwan. So they brought Marwan ibn al-Hakam. When they brought Marwan ibn al-Hakam, what then happened? He gathered all of them and he locked all of them within some houses. He then told the people of Medina, he said, we will not rest until Yazid ibn Muawiya is out of power. We will not rest until he is removed. Yazid ibn Muawiya, his governor in Medina, Uthman ibn Sa'id, took off his shirt, sent it in a parcel with a messenger to Yazid. Yazid was in Sham. Yazid was sitting in his palace in Sham. This messenger came in. He said, what are you doing here? He said, I've come with a message. He said, which message? He said, this shirt. This shirt, of course, occupies a prominent position in history. Nabi Yusuf's shirt was used as an excuse. Uthman's shirt was used as an excuse. And now Uthman ibn Muhammad ibn Abu Sufyan, he sent his shirt to Yazid. Yazid said, whose shirt is this? They said, your cousin Uthman. He said, why? What's happened to him? They've said they've captured Uthman and now they want to take over your kingdom. Yazid said, after I finished Hussein ibn Ali, they think they've got the audacity to try and rise against me? Who are these people? They said to him, the people of Medina. He said, I do not care, Medina or no Medina. Whichever land gets in my way will be pillaged. So he turned around to Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, of course, was still alive after Karbala. He turned around to Ibn Ziyad. He said, Ibn Ziyad, get your soldiers ready. I want you to go and pillage Medina. Ibn Ziyad said, no. He said to him, what? He said, no, I won't do it. He said to him, what do you mean you won't do it? Remember, Ibn Ziyad and Yazid were virtually the same age, in the 30s, but they hated each other. But as politicians, when you have a common goal, we all love each other. You find that they had a common goal with Imam al-Hussein. Now when it came to this area, Ibn Ziyad said, I won't do it. He said to him, what do you mean you won't do it? He said, you ordered me to kill the grandson of Muhammad. We did that. But I'm not going to go and pillage the land of Medina. I don't want a curse to come on me directly. Subhanallah, it's alright killing the grandson of Rasulullah, but pillaging a piece of land, there's a problem for him. He said, Ibn Ziyad, what's wrong? He said, I'm not going to go and pillage Medina. He said to him, very well. He turned around, the Hakim al-Qais was there. Will you go and do it? He said, no, I won't do it, Yazid. You are Amir al-Mu'mineen, you are my Khalifa. But the land of Medina is the land of the grave of Rasulullah. There is no way I'm going to let blood be shed near the grave of Rasulullah. He looked around him one more time. He saw Muslim ibn Aqaba. Muslim ibn Aqaba was in his 90s. An old soldier, brave warrior. Nobody as loyal to Bani Umayyah as him. Anything Bani Umayyah say, Muslim ibn Aqaba would do. He said to him, Muslim, would you lead this army? He said, army to do what? He said, the people of Medina. He said, what do you want, O Amir al-Mu'mineen? Because they used to call Yazid Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said, what do you want, O Amir al-Mu'mineen? He said, I want you to go towards the land of Medina. Enter the land of Medina. There are people there in Medina, Muhajirun son, Ansar son, memorizers of the Quran. I do not care if they are hiding behind the grave of Muhammad. If it means we shed their blood near Muhammad's grave, so be it. He said, you want me to shed their blood straight away? He said, no. Give them 3 days to think about what they've done to me. That they dare to take my family into hostage in Medina. Give them 3 days. And tell them at the end of these 3 days, If they pledge allegiance, we'll look after them. If not, we'll massacre them. Muslim bin Aqaba got ready. Yazid said to him, gather all of the soldiers. Yazid gathered 10,000 soldiers. They gathered all the soldiers. Muslim was leading the soldiers. Yazid looked around at all of the soldiers. He said to them, those of you who ride on horse will receive 200 dinar. Those of you who walk on the ground, who are the foot soldiers, I'll give you 100 dinar. Christians, do you want to join in? They said, why not? Remember, Yazid's mother Maysoon was a Christian. So he had very strong links with the Christians of Syria. Christians, you want to join in? They said, yes, why not? So he sent Christians, because you know the Christian has no affinity to Medina. For a Christian, who's Muhammad, who's Medina? If it means we have to go on behalf of the Khalifa, we'll go. Christians got together. Yazid got all his soldiers. Muslim bin Aqaba started to lead 10,000 soldiers from Syria going towards Medina. 2.8 kilometers Yazid traveled with them. Then he bid them farewell. He said, go and do what you've got to do to Muhammad's favorite city. They went. Muslim bin Aqaba rode his horse. He went all the way until on the outskirts of Medina, he met Marwan ibn al-Hakam. Marwan ibn al-Hakam had managed to escape out of the area. And Marwan ibn al-Hakam met Muslim. Muslim said to him, how can I defeat these people? What's your opinion? Marwan said, if it's in terms of numbers, they've got more numbers than you. If it's in terms of weapons, you've got more weapons than them. So he said, what do you advise me to do? He said, you've got a major problem defeating them. He said, what's the problem? He said, you remember Ali ibn Abi Talib in the Battle of Khandaq? He said, yes, I've heard the story. He said, the Battle of Khandaq, what did Muhammad do? He said, Salman told him to put a Khandaq outside Medina. He said, that same Khandaq, they built it again. Remember in the Battle of Khandaq, Salman told Rasulullah, put a trench outside Medina. Because you know when you put a trench outside a city, a horse, if it goes in a trench, can't come out. And these riders are on horse, aren't they? So what happened was, he said to him, they've rebuilt the Khandaq outside Medina. He said, they've rebuilt the Khandaq? He said, yes. They've rebuilt the Khandaq, so you're not going to get in. So he said, Marwan, is there anything else to tell me? He said, I can't tell you anything else. He said to him, why? He said, well, I swore an oath with the people of Medina, I would not open my mouth more than this if they let me out. He said, very well. He said, however, he said, what is it? My son Abdul Malik. He said, yes. He said, my son Abdul Malik didn't take an oath. Go and ask him. Subhanallah, that's a politician like you'll never see. I can't give you everything, but I know someone who can. He went to Abdul Malik. Of course, Abdul Malik ibn Marwan later would become one of the most famous Khulafa of Bani Umayyah. Abdul Malik was young at the time. He went to Abdul Malik. When he came near Abdul Malik, he said to him, Abdul Malik, I want to attack Medina. He said to him, okay. He said to him, what do you advise me to do? He said, do you want my advice? He said, yes. He said, I'll give you each tactic of how you'll destroy the opposition. He said, okay, go ahead. He said, the first thing you do with your soldiers is sit for one day near the palm trees on the outskirts of Medina. He said to him, why? He said, you will not taste dates in this world like the dates of Medina. He said, just let them relax. Relax them, let them be comfortable, let them have a day next to the palm trees. He said to him, okay, they've had their day, then what do we do? He said, don't enter the western Harrah. Please listen to the words. We said this incident in history is called Waqi'at al-Harrah. He said, do not enter from the west. He said to him, why? He said, from the west it's impossible for your soldiers to go over. So he said to him, from where shall I enter? He said, enter from the eastern Harrah. Brothers and sisters, Medina has got two provinces which are known as Harras. One is the eastern, one is the western. To enter Medina, you either enter through the eastern province or the western. He told him, don't enter through the west. They've built this Khandaq. Enter through the east. And he told him the exact time. He said, what time? He said, enter at a time when the sun is in their eyes and not in yours. So that when you're fighting them, they have no chance of finishing you. He said to him, thank you for the advice. He went forward, Muslim bin Aqaba. Abdullah ibn Hanbala had heard that Muslim is now on his way to enter Medina. Abdullah bin Hanbala gathered all the women of Medina, gathered all the men of Medina, gathered all the children of Medina, brothers and sisters. This incident is one of the most tragic incidents after Karbala. And anyone who ever tells you Yazid ibn Muawiya was wrong for killing Imam al-Hussein, but you can't blame him, say to them, how about Waqi'at al-Harrah after Karbala? He came, Muslim bin Aqba. When Muslim bin Aqba came, he entered towards Medina. Abdullah bin Hanbala gathered all the men, all the women, all the children. He said to them, O people of Medina, we have all gathered here to fight against the drunkard, to fight against the womanizer, to fight against the man who sits with monkeys and musicians. We have gathered here, all of us, and are you all ready to lose your life in the name of the religion of Islam? They all said, yes, we're all ready. He said, are you all ready to shed your blood, to be martyrs? After Karbala has now happened, are you all ready? Because none of you were at Karbala. They said, we're all ready. And some of them called out, we're ready to fight the frog and the son of the frog. He said, we don't need curses like this. He said, cursing will not get us victory. What we need are men of discipline. They said, Master, we are ready to fight. Muslim ibn Aqaba walked in, all of the people of Medina are ready with their weapons. Muslim ibn Aqaba looked at all of them. He said, O people of Medina, we respect your position. We know that you are unhappy with Yazid's governors after Karbala. We are willing to reach a compromise. We're not going to raise wheat prices anymore. What are you talking with me? Economics or religion? See, the mind, when it doesn't have any fear of Allah, it's all bribes, isn't it? The mind is all corruption and deceit if there isn't any consciousness of Allah's presence. He says, oh people of Medina, the wheat prices will remain level this year. They said to him, what are you talking about? He said, we're not going to raise the wheat. All of you can harvest as much as you want. They said to him, we've not come out to fight you because of harvest. We've come out because there's a barbaric man who sits in Sham, who nobody's speaking out against, who's taken the granddaughter of Rasulullah to Sham to live alone with no one supporting her. He looked at them and he said, listen to me, I'm going to give all of you 3 days. In 3 days time, all of you come back to me and say, we have come to pledge our allegiance because we are the slaves of Yazid ibn Muawiya. We are the what? Slaves of Yazid ibn Muawiya. They said to him, so you're saying that we're the slaves? He said, yes, this is as much as we rate you people. And the fact that you've taken some of our family as hostage means I'm giving you a break. In 3 days time, if you people of Medina do not come and kiss our hands and say you are our slaves, there will be a bloodbath in Medina. Abdullah ibn Hanbala turned around to all his soldiers. He said to them, are you all ready? They said, yes, we are. He said, in 3 days time, all of us will go in a battlefield. If we are victorious, then Rasulullah's name rises in Medina. If not, then at least we stood up against the injustice of our time. The people all gathered. Abdullah gathered the Muhajirin, the Ansar, the memorizers of Quran. Brothers and sisters, in Medina, 3 Sahaba of Rasulullah were living. Muhajirun were living, sons of Muhajirun were living, sons of Ansar were living. 700 memorizers of the Quran, 700 memorizers of the Holy Quran were living in Medina. Women of Medina were all there. They came to one of the fiercest battles in Islamic history. Muslim bin Aqaba entered from the eastern side, the eastern Harrah. A fierce battle ensued. They had tried their hardest to dig this trench for 15 days. Muslim bin Aqaba and his army got through. They annihilated the army of Abdullah ibn Hanbala. When they annihilated the army, you know when an opposition army annihilates the army of the land, what do they then do? Yazid had told them very clearly, and brothers and sisters, these hadiths aren't in our books. These hadiths are in the books of our brothers in other schools in Islam. I ask all of you, go and read under the year 63 AH. Karbala was in which year? 61, isn't it? Read in any book of history, Tabari, Ibn al-Athir, Baladri, read all under the year 63 what happened. Yazid ibn Muawiya had told Muslim bin Aqaba, the moment you get through, if you kill them, you kill them. If they're hiding near Muhammad's grave, kill them near his grave, but make sure you take your dogs with you near his grave. You know the first thing they did? When the people of Medina who came out to fight Yazid's soldiers, when they came out to fight, when they got killed, some of them took sanctuary in Rasulullah's mosque. Why? Because you know Rasulullah's mosque, you would not shed blood in Rasulullah's mosque, would you? You wouldn't shed blood. You find that what they did, they entered Rasulullah's mosques with 3 animals. Some of them entered with their camels, some of them entered with their horses, some of them entered with their dogs, to find the people of Medina who were hiding within the mosque. I don't know how many of you remember, about 20 years ago, when the Gulf War happened. Do you remember when there was a group of people who were hiding in the Haram of Imam al-Hussein in Karbala? There were a group of people who were hiding because Saddam and the Ba'ath soldiers had now approached Karbala to come and attack Karbala. And there's even footage of one in Najaf where they were hiding within the Haram. Likewise, the people of Medina thought, you know what, Yazid's soldiers are in now. The woman decided that our husbands are dead, let's go in the mosque of Rasulullah. We'll go by the grave of Rasulullah. Surely, this man, if he has any respect for us, will not do anything to us. Muslim bin Aqaba entered the mosque. When he entered, he looked around at his soldiers. He said, these are the women of the soldiers who just fought us. Enjoy yourself. 800 women got raped in the mosque of Rasulullah that day. How many? 800. Like honestly, when I hear these people saying Yazid radiallahu anhu, I don't know which books of history are they reading, honestly. He told Muslim bin Aqaba, rape the woman of Medina. The following year, any child that was born was called the child of the Harrah, the child of those killed on the eastern side. And that child would come from what? Out of wedlock, from rape, in the mosque of Rasulullah. You know when they finish with the woman, what they do? They get the dogs and they make the dogs urinate on the grave of Rasulullah. The dogs were urinating. All the dogs were let loose, urinate as much as you can. The horses, the camels, urinating on the grave of Rasulullah. They went around, they massacred the woman, or they raped the woman, they massacred the children. 1,400 Ansar were killed, 3,500 Mawali, non-Arabs living in Medina were killed, 700 memorizers of the Quran were killed, 3 of the Sahaba of Rasulullah were killed, their sons were killed. Zayd was the son of Abdurrahman bin Auf. Our brothers in other schools in Islam say Abdurrahman ibn Auf is one of the 10 who's going to Jannah. Yes? There's 10 who are going Jannah. His son Zayd died. Yet I don't understand. Yazid's in Jannah, this man's in Jannah. I don't know, this Jannah, what's it gonna be? Allahu Akbar, I don't know. Zayd is in Jannah, that person's in Jannah. You find that they terrorized, but they hadn't caught Abdullah ibn Zubair. You know what Muslim bin Aqaba said? Muslim bin Aqaba said, we've come to Medina and we've tasted the woman of Medina. And there is no taste like the taste of a woman from Medina. Now it's a turn for us to taste the house of Muhammad and the house of his Lord in Mecca. Get your soldiers ready. Let's go and attack the Kaaba once and for all. He was on his way towards Mecca to attack the Kaaba. Muslim bin Aqaba on his way, because he was in his 90s, he died. When he died, he passed the leadership to Hussein ibn Numair. Hussein ibn Numair, you find that this was the man who on the 10th of Muharram was one of the killers of Ali al-Akbar. When Ali al-Akbar was on the ground, this man was one of those who put the spear in his chest. He passed it to him. He said to him, oh Hussein, listen to me. I want you to go in the land of Mecca. Don't listen to the Quraysh, listen to the Syrians. Capture Abdullah ibn Zubair. When you capture Abdullah ibn Zubair, if he is holding on to the Kaaba, please listen to this line. This line by itself is a line of kufr. He says if Abdullah ibn Zubair is holding on to God's house, then burn God's house. They went towards Mecca. The Kaaba after Rasulullah was destroyed by 2 people. Hussein ibn Numair, and who was the second? Hajjaj ibn Yusuf al-Thaqafi. Hussein came towards the Kaaba. He found out Abdullah ibn Zubair is near the Kaaba. They got the largest catapults with rocks, with fire, and they brought down the Kaaba because of constant throwing of the stones and the rocks towards the Kaaba. When they were there, they wanted to finish their mission off. they received news from Sham. Yazid ibn Muawiya died. Yazid died. He had gone out hunting. While he had gone out hunting, after Karbala, narrations say he was claustrophobic. He hated places which are covered. That's why if you look at the palaces of Bani Umayyah, you'll notice they're very open. He hated places which are covered. He'd go out hunting. That day he saw an animal. He said, let me go and kill that animal. He went towards killing the animal. He told his soldiers, stay behind. I'll bring this animal back myself. All that came back was a limb on a horse. That's it. When the soldiers of Yazid heard, they said, we've raped enough women in Medina. We've enjoyed ourselves. And as for Muhammad's Mecca, look at Mecca right now. Nobody will be able now to come near us and defeat us. That plot of Abdullah ibn Zubayr had not worked. Do you know who picked up on the plot? Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, remember, could not be at Karbala. Why? Mukhtar couldn't be at Karbala because he was imprisoned by Ibn Ziyad. When Mukhtar was placed in prison, who was with him? Maytham al-Tammar. Maytham looked at Mukhtar. He said to him, Mukhtar, congratulations. There's a day you will avenge the killing of the grandson of Rasulullah. He said to him, me? He said, yes. He said, but I'm in prison now. He said, no, I was given glad tidings that you will avenge the killing of Hussein ibn Ali. Mukhtar was in prison. The narrations mention Mukhtar, while he was in prison, he heard that Imam al-Hussein had been killed. But he didn't know exactly who had killed who. He did not know who had killed who. He did not know exactly what had happened. Was it Shimr bin the Joshan? Was it Sinan ibn Anas? Was it the others who were present? Mukhtar was in prison. Maytham was in prison. Maytham died about 20 days before Karbala. Ashura, 20 days earlier, around the 21st of the Hijjah, Maytham al-Tammar was killed by Ibn Ziyad. Mukhtar, while in prison, managed to make sure a letter from him reached his brother-in-law. Mukhtar had two brothers-in-law. Who were they? Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab and Imam Zayn al-Abidin. These were all brother-in-laws. Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab received a letter, because remember, Abdullah ibn Umar and Mukhtar are married to sisters. When the letter came to Abdullah ibn Umar made sure to reach Yazid. Yazid, while he was alive, he had a favor which he had to perform for his wife Hind. He allowed Mukhtar to be released as long as Mukhtar leaves the land of Kufa. Mukhtar saw what had happened in Medina, those women who had got raped in Medina, in Waqi'at al-Harrah. And he saw what happened in Mecca and how the Kaaba was destroyed. Mukhtar teamed up with another famous person, Ibrahim ibn Malik al-Ashtar. Malik al-Ashtar had a son by the name of Ibrahim. He said to him, Ibrahim, are you ready for a mission? He said, what is it? He said, you see what Yazid ibn Muawiya done at Karbala? He said, yes. He said, we weren't there. He said, yes. He said, then after Karbala, you see what he did to the people of Medina? He raped all those women. And not only did he rape all of those women, he also made his dogs urinate on my prophet's grave. He said to him, yes. He said to him, and then did you see what he done in Mecca? He said, yes. He said, you want to avenge it all? He said, yes. He said, then let's gather our soldiers together. And let's look for these people one by one. So he said to him, who shall we look for? He said, I heard at Karbala the commanders of the army. I found out their names. And I want to go and find them one by one. Abdullah ibn Zubayr formed his own Khilafah, but I want to fight against injustice to please Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam. Because you know, when he avenged Karbala, he went to Imam Zayn al-Abidin. He brought a smile to Imam Zayn al-Abidin. So he said to him, who shall we find? He said, I want us to look for Sinan ibn Anas and Shimr bin al-Jawshan and Umar ibn Sa'ad. And I want us to find Ibn Ziyad as well. And there's a few others, they've given me their names. I do not know what they did on the 10th of Muharram. But I'm going to find them one by one. Because when a person has the arrogance to do that to Mecca and Medina, and to do that to the grandson of the man who taught us about Mecca and Medina, I can't sit here and watch. They went, and what did they do? First they saw the Tawwabun, 4 years after Karbala, the Tawwabun, when they heard about Waqi'at al-Harrah under Sulaiman ibn Sard al-Khuza'i, the Tawwabun rose against Ibn Ziyad, but Ibn Ziyad annihilated them. You know the word Tawbah means repentance, isn't it? Tawwabun is a group of people who repent for not being at the incident of Karbala. The Tawwabun, because they were not at Karbala, they decided they wanted to avenge Karbala. So the Tawwabun tried in 65 AH, 4 years after Karbala. They were defeated. The year after, Mukhtar and Ibrahim ibn Malik al-Ashtar went and caught each of the perpetrators of the crimes of the 10th of Muharram. And you know Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, what he said? He said, I didn't know what each of these had done exactly. He said, I heard, but I wasn't sure exactly what they had done. He said, so I caught them one by one. And when I caught them one by one, I wanted to ask them, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? And he said, some of the things they told me I didn't know about. You find the first person he caught was who? He caught Sinan ibn Anas. When he caught Sinan ibn Anas, he said to him, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? Sinan ibn Anas looked at Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, having been caught. It was like a court case. He caught him. He said to him, what did you do? He said, you know what I did? He said, yes. He said, your master was lying on the ground and arrows had surrounded his whole body. I wanted to come and behead him. But when I came near his face, I have to admit one thing to you. I haven't seen light shine from a face like his face. He said, normally with that much blood on a face, there shouldn't be light. He said, but you know what I did? I thought I will not behead him, so I decided to stick my sword through his shoulder to cause him an intense amount of pain. Mukhtar al-Thaqafi said, so you stuck your sword into the shoulder of the grandson of Rasulullah? I said to him, yes. He said, then an eye for an eye. In the laws of Qisas, I'm retaliating. He did the same to him and killed him. He then went and he caught this one person. He said to him, what's your name? He gave him his name. He said, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? He said, on the 10th of Muharram, I saw Abbas coming back from the Furat. We had tried to kill him on the way. I saw him coming back from the Furat. He said he was coming back because the children were thirsty. We heard Hussein's children saying, Al-Atash, Al-Atash. Abbas was on his way back. He said, I'm the man who jumped and cut the right hand of Abbas when he was on the horse. He caught another one. He said, what did you do? He said, I'm the one who cut the left hand of Abu Fadl al-Abbas. And he said, you know, I will tell you something, Mukhtar. Mukhtar said, what is it? He said, normally when a man falls from his horse, his hands are in front of him. He said, I saw Abbas fall from his horse without any hands. Then after that, he had caught 10 horse riders. When he caught these 10 horse riders, he said, I want to ask all you 10, what did you do on the 10th of Muharram? They said, we didn't do anything on the afternoon of the 10th. He said, what do you mean we didn't do anything on the afternoon? They said, our work was after the afternoon. It was in the evening time. He said, what do you mean? He said, Hussein's body lay on the ground. He said, Hussein's body lay on the ground. He said, Umar ibn Sa'ad turned around to each of us. We were all riding our horses. He said to each of us, check the hooves of your horses. So they looked at him and they said to him, why? He said, make sure the hooves are sharp. I want them to be sharp. So we checked and they were sharp. He said, how is the heat on the hooves of your horses? They said, the heat is very strong. It is very hot in Karbala and the heat is still there. He then called out to us, O horses of Allah, ride your horses. O horse riders, ride your horses and trample on the body of Hussein. Said, Wallah, each one of us trampled on his body with our horses. We kicked his body one way and the other on the land of Karbala. Mukhtar then ordered for them to be killed. Then after that, Mukhtar managed to catch Shimr bin al-Jawshan. He asked Shimr. Shimr clearly said, I beheaded Hussein. He finished Shimr's life. He had then caught who? Umar ibn Sa'ad. When he caught Umar bin Sa'ad, no his son showed any regret whatsoever. Both of them arrogant until the moment they died. And Imam al-Hussein told Umar bin Sa'ad, he said, "Oh Umar bin Sa'ad, I promise you there'll be a day your body, dogs will be coming near it, people will throw things at it." Umar bin Sa'ad looked at him and he said, "It doesn't matter. If it means I kill you, then I'll finish you." This Umar bin Sa'ad, Mukhtar caught him as well. But you know what Mukhtar says? He says, "Of all the people we caught after Karbala, no one hurt me like Harmala bin Kahil." He said, "When I caught Harmala bin Kahil, I caught him and I had asked all of them about what they did to Imam al-Hussein. But this man, I asked him, and what he said to me hurt me the most." You all know what Harmala bin Kahil did on the 10th of Muharram. The narrations mention that when Mukhtar caught Harmala bin Kahil, he said to him, "Harmala, what did you do? What did you do, Harmala, on the 10th of Muharram?" He said, "I shot 7 arrows towards the army of Imam al-Hussein." He looked at him and he said to him, "7 arrows?" He said, "Yes." He said, "How many arrows shot their target?" He replied, 4 arrows shot their target. When he looked at him, he said, "Can you tell me the 4 that shot their target?" He said to him, "Yes." He said, "The first arrow that I shot into the right eye of Abu Fadl al-Abbas." He said, "Abbas's hands were gone. His horse was going one way and the other. And I saw Umar bin Sa'ad saying to me, 'Harmala, what are you waiting for?' Those of you who've been to Karbala, have you come near that shrine of Abbas, that magnanimous shrine?" He said to him, "What are you waiting for?" He said, "I pulled back the arrow and my arrow hit the eye of Abbas." He said, "I saw Abbas fall on the ground with the arrow going deeper in his eye." He said to him, "How about the second arrow?" He said, "The second arrow I shot on Abdullah ibn al-Hasan, the nephew of Imam al-Hussein." He said to him, "What do you mean?" He said, "We were seeing Hussein on the ground, arrows that surrounded his body. He had looked like a hedgehog on the ground. That's how many arrows were on his body." He said, "We were about to kill him. All of a sudden a young boy ran out of the tent of his auntie Zainab. He called out, 'How dare you kill my uncle while I see him on the ground?' He said, 'I saw him running towards his uncle. He sat by his uncle's body. We struck him. It struck his arm. He turned around to his uncle. He said, 'Oh uncle, are you proud of me? I couldn't bear to see you on the ground, seeing you alone.' He said, Umar bin Sa'ad looked at me. He said, 'Harmala, finish the young man?' He said, 'I struck an arrow into the neck of the young man next to his uncle.' He said to him, 'How about the third arrow?' He said, 'The third arrow is the one that hurts me the most.' He said to him, 'How about the third arrow?' He said, 'The third arrow I struck on the 6-month-old baby of Abi Abdullah.' He said to him, 'What happened?' He said, 'Hussein came out. He placed the baby. No one gave him water. A second time, no one gave him water. On the third time, when he came to place the baby again, we didn't give him any water.' He said, Umar bin Sa'ad looked at me and said, 'Harmala, what are you waiting for? Get your arrow ready.' He said, 'Normally I would use a normal arrow, but for the baby I used an arrow I used to cut the neck of a camel.' He said, 'I pulled the arrow back. Hussein had the baby in his hands. He said, my arrow struck the neck of the baby of Abi Abdullah. He said, I saw the baby flap its hands like a bird flaps its wings.'" Imagine the pain for Abi Abdullah. They didn't turn around to him. They said to him, "Oh Harmala, about the 4th arrow?" He said, "The 4th arrow I covered with poison and I struck it on the chest of Imam al-Hussein when he lay on the ground in Karbala." Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise us with Muhammad and Al Muhammad, to allow us to receive the intercession of Imam Sahib al-Asr wa zaman, allow us to be amongst those who are able to visit the shrine of Imam al-Hussein in the land of Karbala. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the originators of this majlis, that Allah allows us to visit the shrine of Abi Abdullah on the 40th of Imam al-Hussein. The following Surah Al-Fatiha, if we can recite it, for Sister Kanis Fatima, Sister Mukhtar, or Brother Mukhtar Begum and Brother Malik Tajuddin, if we can please recite a Surah Al-Fatiha for all of them. As you know, tomorrow is the final majlis of the series. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the Surah Al-Fatiha, but before it, the loudest of your salawat.